I remember the exact moment I agreed to marry Elena. It wasn't love. It wasn't even close. It was a contract, signed in a quiet office with Henry Blake watching us like it was just another business deal. My father, Victor Cole, wanted stability for the company, and Elena needed protection from her family's financial collapse. Simple, clean, emotionless. Elena barely looked at me that day. "This changes nothing," she said coldly. I nodded. "Good. I don't want it to." At first, we lived like strangers under the same roof. Short conversations, polite distance. But something about her silence felt heavy, like she was waiting for something or someone. I ignored it. That was my first mistake. We signed the papers without hesitation. Henry adjusted his glasses and said, "Everything is legally binding." "Both parties agree?" "I agree," I said. Elena exhaled softly. "I agree," she repeated. Victor leaned back in his chair. "Good. Then we move forward." I glanced at Elena. She didn't look at me. "Is there anything else?" I asked. Henry shook his head. "Just one clause to remember. No emotional obligations." I let out a quiet breath. "That's perfect," I said. Elena finally looked at me. "Don't misunderstand," she said. "This is temporary." "I know," I replied. "So is everything else." She frowned slightly. "You talk like that doesn't bother you." "It doesn't," I said. "Should it?" She looked away. "No." We left the office together, but there was distance between us that no contract could measure. Outside, Victor stopped me. "Don't mess this up," he said quietly. "I won't," I replied. He glanced at Elena. "You both know what's at stake." Elena nodded. "I understand." Victor walked away, already on his phone. I looked at her. "Do you?" She crossed her arms. "Do I what?" "Understand," I said. "What this really is." Her eyes hardened. "It's survival." I nodded slowly. "Then we won't have any problems." That night, we moved into the same house, but not the same life. She chose the room at the end of the hall. "Better this way," she said. "Agreed," I replied. Days passed quietly. "Dinner?" I asked one evening. "I already ate," she said without looking up. "Work?" she asked once. "Handled," I replied. That was how it went. Short words. No meaning. One night I stopped her in the hallway. "Elena," I said, "are you waiting for something?" She froze. "What do you mean?" I held her gaze. "You act like this isn't where you belong." She pulled her hand away. "It isn't," she said quietly. "Then why stay?" I asked. Her voice dropped. "Because I have to." I studied her face, but she turned away again. That answer should have been enough. But it wasn't. Later, I stood alone in the living room, staring at the signed contract on the table. "No emotions," I muttered. It sounded simple. It wasn't. Upstairs, I heard her phone ring. She picked up quickly. "Hello," she whispered. I didn't move, but I listened. Her tone changed, softer, warmer. "I told you not to call," she said. A pause. Then, "No, I haven't forgotten." I felt something shift inside me. "Just give me time," she whispered. The call ended. I stayed where I was, staring at nothing. So there it was, not love, not trust, something else, something unfinished. And for the first time I realized this deal might be simple, but it was never going to be easy. I walked upstairs slowly. She was standing by the window, her back to me. "Who was that?" I asked. She didn't turn. "No one you need to worry about." "That's not an answer," I said. She sighed. "It's my past." "Past," I repeated. "It doesn't sound like it's over." She turned then, eyes sharp. "And this doesn't sound like your concern." "It's my house," I replied. "My name on that contract, and my life," she shot back. Silence stretched between us. Finally, I nodded. "Fine." She looked at me like she wanted to say more, but didn't. "Good night," she said. "Good night," I replied. She closed the door. I stood there for a moment, then walked away. Lucas Reinhardt came back into her life like a ghost that never died. I noticed the change before she said anything. Elena started checking her phone more often. She smiled, but never at me. At breakfast, I watched her glance down at her screen again. "Important?" I asked. She locked the phone quickly. "Just a message." "You seem busy lately," I said. I am, she replied. With what? She picked up her coffee. Things that don't concern you. I nodded slowly. Right. The contract. She didn't answer. That silence told me more than her words. Later that evening, I found her standing by the window again, typing fast. Working late? I asked. She flinched slightly. Yes. I walked closer. You don't look like you're working. She turned, her expression guarded. What does that mean? It means you're distracted, I said. And it's new. She crossed her arms. You're imagining things. Am I? I asked. Yes, she said firmly. I held her gaze for a moment. All right, but I knew I wasn't. The next few days only made it clearer. She laughed once while texting. I had never heard that sound from her before. Something funny? I asked. She shook her head. Just a joke. Want to share it? I asked. No, she said quickly. That word lingered longer than it should have. That night I stopped her before she could walk past me. Elena. She paused. What? Who is he? I asked. Her body went still. I don't know what you mean, she said. Yes, you do, I replied. You've been different. She looked down, then away. It's nothing. It's not nothing, I said quietly. People don't change like this for nothing. She stayed silent. I stepped closer. Just tell me the truth. Her voice dropped to almost a whisper. Someone I should have forgotten. I watched her carefully. But you didn't. She shook her head. No. Huh. Does he know about this? I asked. She hesitated. Yes. And he still came back? I said. Her lips pressed together. Yes. I let out a slow breath. That says a lot. It doesn't mean anything, she said quickly. It means something, I replied. You just don't want to admit it. She looked at me then. Something conflicted in her eyes. Why do you care? I paused. That was a good question. I don't, I said finally. I just don't like surprises. She let out a quiet laugh, but there was no humor in it. Then you should have picked a different life. Maybe, I said. She walked past me. Drop it, Adrian. I didn't stop her this time. But I didn't forget either. Later that night, I couldn't sleep. Something felt off. Not wrong, just unfinished. I walked downstairs for water, but stopped when I heard her voice, soft, careful. I stayed in the shadows. Lucas, you shouldn't have come back. That name settled heavily in my chest. Lucas. I told you, things are different now, she whispered. A pause. No, it's not that simple, she said. Another pause, her voice softened even more. I didn't forget, I just moved on. Silence. Then, almost breaking, she said, You're making this harder. I didn't hear the rest. I didn't need to. I walked back upstairs slowly, the name repeating in my head. Lucas. So that was him. Not just a memory. Not just a past. Something real. Something unfinished. The next morning, I found her in the kitchen again. You look tired, I said. I didn't sleep well, she replied. Thinking about him? I asked. She froze, then turned slowly. You heard, yes. She closed her eyes briefly. Then you already know. I know his name, I said. Lucas. She nodded. I leaned against the counter. Is he the reason you agreed to this marriage? Her eyes snapped to mine. No. Are you sure? I asked. Yes, she said firmly. This has nothing to do with him. Then why does it feel like it has everything to do with him? I said. She didn't answer. That silence again. Always that silence. I pushed myself off the counter. You should figure out what you want. She looked at me, almost frustrated. I already did. Then why does it look like you're hesitating? I asked. Her voice dropped. Because some things don't disappear just because you want them to. I studied her for a moment, then I nodded. Fair enough. I turned to leave but stopped at the door. Elena, I said. She didn't respond. If he's back, I continued, then this situation just got more complicated. She finally spoke. I know. I opened the door. And complications, I added quietly, always come with consequences. She didn't reply. But I didn't need her to, because for the first time, I felt it clearly. Something was coming, and I was standing right in its path. Things started changing fast. Elena came home late. At first it was small, 10 minutes, 20, then hours. I noticed, but I didn't ask. One night she walked in past midnight. "You're late," I said from the couch. She didn't even look at me. I had things to do. "Important things?" I asked. "Yes," she replied. "With him?" I said. She stopped walking. For a second, I thought she might deny it. She didn't. "That's none of your business," she said. "It becomes my business when it affects this house," I replied. She turned slowly. "This isn't a real marriage, Adrian. I'm aware," I said calmly, "but there are still boundaries." She let out a quiet breath. "Then maybe you should stop pretending those boundaries matter." I studied her face. She wasn't hiding it anymore. "Something changed," I said. "Yes," she replied. "What?" I asked. She hesitated, then said it. I stopped pretending. The words were simple, but they landed harder than I expected. I leaned back slightly. "That makes two of us." But it wasn't true, not completely. The next few days, she didn't even try to maintain distance. She stopped eating with me, stopped speaking unless necessary, stopped acting like this arrangement meant anything at all. One evening, I found her packing a small bag. "Going somewhere?" I asked. "Yes," she said. "For how long?" "I don't know." I crossed my arms. "Does he know you're coming?" She zipped the bag. "Yes." That answer came too easily. "You're not even trying to hide it anymore," I said. "What's the point?" she replied. "You already know." I stepped closer. "And you're okay with this?" She met my eyes. "Are you?" I didn't answer because I didn't know. She walked past me, then stopped at the door. "Adrian," she said. I waited. "I never loved you." There it was. Clear. Direct. Final. I looked at her. Calm. Too calm. "That was never part of the contract," I said. She watched me like she expected more. Anger. Reaction. Something. But I gave her nothing. "Is that all?" I asked. Her expression shifted slightly. "Yes." "Then you should go," I said. She hesitated for a second, then opened the door. "Goodbye," she said. "Good night," I replied. The door closed, and just like that, the silence returned. I stood there for a while, staring at the empty space she left behind. It wasn't supposed to matter. It really wasn't. So why did it feel like something had been taken from me? The next day, I met Marcus. "You look like hell," he said the moment he saw me. "I feel fine," I replied. "That's a lie," he said. I sat down across from him. "What'd you want me to say?" "The truth," he said. I shrugged. "She left." "She left? With him?" he asked. "Yes." He leaned back. "And you're just sitting here. What else should I do?" I asked. "React," he said. "Do something." "It's not that simple," I replied. "It is that simple," he said. "You're letting this go too far." I looked at him. "Too far for what? For you," he said. "You're acting like none of this matters." "It doesn't," I said. He laughed, but there was no humor in it. "You really believe that?" "I do," I replied. He leaned forward. "Then why do you look like you haven't slept?" I didn't answer. "Why are you clenching your hands?" he added. I glanced down. He wasn't wrong. I relaxed them slowly. It was never real. Marcus studied me carefully. Maybe not at the start. I held his gaze. "And now?" He paused. "Now it looks like you're losing something you didn't expect to care about." I shook my head. "You're overthinking it." "No," he said quietly. "You are." Silence settled between us. I leaned back in my chair. She made her choice. "And you?" he asked. "I don't need to make one," I said. "That's the problem," he replied. I frowned slightly. "What does that mean?" "It means you're standing still while everything around you is changing," he said. I looked away, because part of me knew he was right, but I didn't want to admit it. "I'm fine," I said again. Marcus sighed. "Keep telling yourself that." I stood up. "I will." He didn't stop me. He just watched as I walked away, and for the first time, I felt it clearly. Something had shifted, not just between me and Elena, but inside me. I just didn't know what it meant yet. I saw them together, Not by accident, not by coincidence. I followed her. She thought I wouldn't notice. She thought I wouldn't care. Maybe I should have proved her right. But I didn't. I stayed in the car across the street, watching her walk into the building. She won't stay long, I muttered to myself, but I didn't believe it. I stepped out after a minute and followed. Each step felt heavier than the last. Turn back, oh, voice in my head said. I ignored it. I reached the door, paused, then pushed it open, and there they were. Lucas stood too close. She didn't move away. They looked like they belonged in the same space, like I was the one out of place. I waited for you, he said. I know, she whispered. That was enough. I walked in. The sound of my steps echoed louder than it should have. They both turned. Silence hit like a wall. Lucas looked at me first. Then he smiled. Slow, confident, annoying. So you're the husband, he said. I didn't look at him. Elena, I said quietly, is this how it ends? She froze. For a moment, I thought she would speak, explain, deny, anything. She didn't. Lucas stepped slightly in front of her. I think she made it clear already. I finally looked at him. I wasn't talking to you. He chuckled. You should be. I'm the reason you're here. I ignored him again. Elena. She swallowed, but still said nothing. That silence was louder than anything she could have said. Say something, I said. Her lips parted slightly, then closed. Lucas tilted his head. What do you want her to say? The truth, I replied. He smiled wider. You already know it. I want to hear it from her, I said. He glanced at her. Go on. She looked at me, and for the first time, I saw it clearly. No guilt, no confusion, just distance. I'm leaving, she said. The words were quiet, but final. I nodded once. For him, yes. Lucas let out a soft laugh. At least she's honest. I stepped closer, ignoring him completely. Elena, I said, look at me. She hesitated, then met my eyes. Was any of it real? I asked. She didn't answer right away. Then she shook her head. No. That should have been enough. It should have ended right there. But something inside me didn't let go. You stayed, I said. You had a choice. I didn't, she replied. You always have a choice, I said. Her voice hardened. Not when everything is falling apart. And this fixes it? I asked. She didn't respond. Lucas stepped in again. You're asking the wrong questions. I looked at him. And you're saying too much. He smirked. I'm just stating facts. The fact is, I said calmly, you walked into something that wasn't yours. He laughed. Wasn't mine? She was mine long before you showed up. I held his gaze. And yet, she married me. For survival, he shot back. Not for you. I didn't react. Because he wasn't wrong. That didn't make it easier. Elena, I said again, last chance. She frowned slightly. For what? To be honest, I replied. She looked away. That was my answer. I took a step back. All right, I said quietly. Lucas watched me carefully. That's it. I glanced at him. What were you expecting? A fight, he said. I shook my head. You're not worth it. His smile faded slightly. Good. I looked at Elena one last time. I hope this was worth it, I said. She didn't respond. But I saw something flicker in her eyes. Doubt. Too late. I turned and walked toward the door. Adrian, she said, suddenly. I stopped, but I didn't turn around. What? I asked. Her voice was softer now. It wasn't supposed to happen like this. I let out a quiet breath. It never is. Lucas scoffed. Don't act like a victim. I smiled faintly. I'm not. I opened the door. And neither are you, I added. Then I walked out. No anger, no scene, just silence. But as I stepped outside, I felt it. Not pain. Not yet. Something worse. A quiet, heavy crack forming somewhere inside me. And I knew this wasn't the end. This was just the moment everyone expected me to break. To shout. To lose control. I didn't. The next morning, I found Elena sitting at the table like nothing had happened. You're back early, I said. She didn't look up. I didn't leave. Right, I replied. just stayed somewhere else. She stayed silent. I poured myself a drink, then looked at her. I'll have the papers ready. Her head snapped up. That's it. I nodded. That's it. She stared at me like she didn't understand. You're not even going to argue? What's there to argue about? I asked. She frowned. This, us. There is no us, I said calmly. Her grip tightened on the glass in her hand. You're making this too easy. I almost laughed. You wanted honesty. This is it. She stood up. I thought you would at least try. Try what? I asked. To stop you. She didn't answer. That's not my job, I continued. Her voice dropped. So you're just letting me go? I met her eyes. You already left. That hit. I saw it. A small crack in her expression. But it disappeared just as quickly. Fine, she said. If that's how you want it. It's not about what I want, I replied. It's about what already happened. She shook her head slightly. You really don't care. I didn't respond. Because I didn't trust my answer. She grabbed her bag. When will the papers be ready? Soon, I said. She walked toward the door, then stopped. For what it's worth, she said. I didn't plan this. I believe you, I replied. She turned slightly. That's all you're going to say? Yes. She waited. I said nothing more. After a moment, she left. The door closed quietly, and just like that, it was over. Or at least, it should have been. Later that day, I sat in my office, staring at nothing. Clara knocked lightly before stepping in. You've canceled 3 meetings. I know, I said. She studied me. That's not like you. Things change, I replied. She closed the door behind her. Is this about your wife? Ex-wife? I corrected. She raised an eyebrow. Already? It's just paperwork now, I said. She walked closer. Are you okay? I leaned back in my chair. I was never in this to begin with. She didn't look convinced. That's not what I asked. It's the answer you're getting, I said. Clara crossed her arms. You look like you haven't slept. I've been busy, I replied. With what? She asked. Ending things, I said. She sighed softly. You don't have to pretend with me. I'm not pretending, I said. She held my gaze. Then why does it feel like you are? I looked away. Because I didn't have a good answer. She softened her tone. What happened? I hesitated, then said, she chose someone else. Clara nodded slowly. And you're just accepting it? Yes. Why? She asked. Because it's already done, I replied. That doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, she said. I let out a quiet breath. It doesn't matter if it hurts. It does, she insisted. I shook my head. Not in this situation. Clara studied me for a moment, then stepped back. You're shutting down. I'm focusing, I corrected. On what? She asked. Moving forward, I said. She paused at the door. Just don't pretend you're fine if you're not. I am fine, I replied. She gave me one last look, then left. The office felt quieter after that. Too quiet. That night, I went back home. The house felt different, empty, not physically, emotionally. I walked into the living room and sat down slowly. No emotions, I muttered. That was the rule. That was the deal. So why did it? Feel like I had broken it? I leaned back and closed my eyes. You didn't care, I whispered to myself. That's what you said. I let out a small, bitter laugh. That's what you keep saying. Silence answered me. I opened my eyes and stared at the ceiling. I was never in this, I said again, but the words didn't feel as strong this time, because deep down, I finally admitted it. I stayed longer than I should have, and maybe I felt more than I was supposed to. Pain doesn't always destroy you. Sometimes it sharpens you. I stopped thinking about Elena. At least, that's what I told myself. Schedule everything, I said the moment I walked into the office. Clara looked up. Everything? Yes, I replied. No gaps. She studied me. You're serious. I've never been more serious, I said. She nodded slowly. All right. Meetings filled my day. Calls replaced silence. Mr. Beeline. Calls replaced silence. Cole, the investors are waiting, she said. I'll be there, I replied. I walked into the room without hesitation. "Let's begin," I said. "No distractions, no emotions, just control." Later that evening, Victor called me into his office. "You've been busy," he said. "I've been working," I replied. He leaned back in his chair. "There's a difference." I held his gaze. "Not anymore." He watched me carefully, finally acting like my son. I didn't react. "I always was." Victor smiled slightly. "No. Before, you were holding back." "From what?" I asked. "From becoming who you're supposed to be," he said. I crossed my arms. "And now?" "Now," he replied, "you look like someone who understands loss." I stayed quiet. He leaned forward. "Loss builds people, if they let it." "I'm not interested in philosophy," I said. "You should be," he replied. "It's the only thing that explains why people change." "I didn't change," I said. Victor raised an eyebrow. "Then prove it." "I already am," I replied. He nodded slowly. "Good. Then don't stop." "I won't," I said. As I turned to leave, he added, "One more thing." I stopped. "What?" "Don't let emotions make decisions for you," he said. "They won't," I replied. That was the truth. Or at least, it would be. The next few weeks passed quickly. Work became routine. Control became normal. Marcus called me one night. "You disappeared." "I've been busy," I said. "With what?" he asked. "Fixing things," I replied. He laughed lightly. "That's one way to put it." "What do you want?" I asked. "To check on you," he said. "You sound different." "I'm fine," I replied. "Still saying that?" he asked. "Yes." He paused. "All right. Just don't lose yourself in the process." "I won't," I said. But I wasn't sure if that was true. A few days later, Clara walked into my office again. "There's something you should know," she said. I didn't look up. "What is it?" "It's about Lucas Reinhardt," she said. That name didn't hit the same anymore. "Go on," I said. She hesitated. "There are rumors." "Had about what?" I asked. "Bad deals," she replied. "Risky partnerships." I leaned back slightly. "That's not surprising." "Huh, there's more," she added. "Daniel Cross is involved." That caught my attention. "Daniel?" I repeated. "Yes," she said. "They're working together on something, unclear." I frowned slightly. "Daniel doesn't take risks without a reason." "Exactly," Clara said, "which means this could get messy." I stayed silent for a moment. Then I asked, "Is it confirmed?" "Not officially," she replied, "but the signs are there." I nodded slowly. "Keep an eye on it." "That's it?" she asked. "Yes," I said. She looked confused. "You're not going to do anything." I met her eyes. "No." "What?" she asked. "Because it's not my problem," I replied. She studied me. "Are you sure?" "Yes," I said. She hesitated, then nodded. "All right." After she left, I sat there quietly. Lucas, Daniel, bad decisions. It all connected too easily. I could have stepped in. I could have used it. But I didn't. I didn't need to. Because this wasn't about revenge. It wasn't about control over them. It was about control over myself. Later that night, I stood by the window, looking out at the city. "Do something," a part of me said. I shook my head. "No, this is your chance," that voice nisted. "I don't need it," I replied. Because I understood something now. Karma doesn't need help. It moves on its own. And if Lucas was making mistakes, he would face them without me. I turned away from the window and picked up my phone. "Clara," I said when she answered. "Yes?" she replied. "Cancel tomorrow morning," I said. She paused. "Why?" "I need time to think," I replied. "About what?" she asked. I took a slow breath. "About who I'm becoming," I said. She didn't respond right away. Then she said softly, "That sounds important." "It is," I replied. I ended the call and set the phone down. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't reacting. I was choosing. And that made all the difference. Lucas made mistakes, big ones. I didn't need to look for them. They started showing up on their own. Clara walked in one morning, her expression serious. "It's happening." I looked up. "What is?" Lucas Reinhardt, she said. One of his deals collapsed. I leaned back slightly. Details. Deantail Cross exposed it, she replied. Investors pulled out overnight. I nodded once. That was fast. It gets worse, she added. There are rumors of legal trouble. I stayed quiet for a moment. Then I asked, confirmed? Not yet, she said, but it's spreading. I stood up slowly. Keep tracking it. That's all? She asked. Yes, I said. She hesitated. You really don't want to get involved? I met her eyes. No. She studied me, then nodded. Understood. After she left, I walked to the window. Lucas was losing control. Exactly how people like him always do. Too confident. Too careless. My phone rang. Marcus, I said as I answered. You heard? He asked. Yes, I replied. He let out a low whistle. That was quick. Not really, I said. Just inevitable. He paused. You sound calm. I am, I replied. That's new, he said. People change, I said. He laughed lightly. Yeah, I can see that. What do you want? I asked. Nothing, he said. Just wanted to see if you'd react. And, I asked. You didn't, he said. That's interesting. I ended the call without another word. Later that week, I attended a small business event. Nothing important, just appearances. That's where I met Sophie. You're Adrian Cole, she said. I turned toward her. And you are? Sophie Reinhardt, she replied. That name caught my attention. Lucas's sister, I said. She nodded. Unfortunately. I studied her for a moment. What do you want? She smiled faintly. Direct, I like that. I don't like wasting time, I said. Neither do I, she replied. That's why I'm here. Go on, I said. She glanced around, then stepped closer. My brother is making mistakes. I've heard, I replied. She sighed. You've heard the surface. And the truth? I asked. He doesn't know when to stop, she said quietly. I didn't respond. He thinks he's untouchable, she continued. He always has. That usually ends badly, I said. She nodded. It already is. I crossed my arms. Why tell me this? She held my gaze. Because you're connected. Not anymore, I said. Maybe not directly, she replied. But you were. That doesn't make it my problem, I said. She studied me carefully. No, but it explains why you're so calm. I'm calm because it doesn't concern me, I said. Is that true? She asked. I didn't answer. She smiled slightly. I thought so. I stepped back. If that's all, I have somewhere to be. One last thing, she said. I paused. What? Elena, she said. I looked at her again. What about her? She's not doing well, Sophie said. I felt something shift, but I kept my expression neutral. That's not my concern. She looks different, Sophie continued. Tired, anxious. I stayed silent. Like she realized something too late, she added. That line stayed in my head. Too late. I nodded once. People realize things when it's already over. Sophie watched me carefully. You really believe that? Yes, I said. She smiled faintly. Then you're stronger than most. I'm just realistic, I replied. Or detached, she said. Same thing, I said. She shook her head slightly. Not always. I didn't respond because I didn't want to think about it. Take care, Adrian, she said. You too, I replied. I walked away without looking back. Later that night, I sat alone in my office. Elena looks different. Sophie's words repeated in my mind. Tired, anxious, too late. I picked up my phone, then put it back down. No, I said quietly. This wasn't my responsibility. Anymore. Lucas made his choices. Elena made hers. And now, they were living with the consequences. I leaned back in my chair and closed my eyes. For the first time, I didn't feel anger. I didn't feel pain. Just clarity. And somewhere in that clarity, I understood something simple. Their world was falling apart, and I wasn't part of it anymore. We met again. A formal event, crowded, loud. I stood near the edge of the room, watching people talk, smile, pretend. Enjoying yourself? Marcus asked as he walked up beside me. I'm here, I replied. That doesn't answer the question, he said. It does, I said. He smirked slightly. You've changed. So I've been told, I replied. His eyes shifted past me. You might want to look. I didn't need to ask who. I turned. Elena stood across the room. For a moment, everything else faded. She looked different. Not just physically. Something in her posture had changed. Less confident. Less certain. Go talk to her, Marcus said quietly. No, I replied. Why not? He asked. Because there's nothing to say, I said. He studied me for a second, then stepped back. Your call. I turned away, but a few minutes later I heard my name. Adrian. I didn't react immediately. Then I turned. She was standing in front of me now, closer than I expected. Can we talk? She asked, her voice shaking. I looked at her. Calm. Distant. Why? I asked. Her eyes filled slightly. Because I made a mistake. I held her gaze. There it was. Not confidence, not control. Fear. You made a choice, I said. She shook her head quickly. No, it wasn't like that. Then explain, I replied. She hesitated. I thought I knew what I wanted. And now? I asked. I was wrong, she said. I stayed silent, because I wanted to hear how far she would go. Adrian, please, she said, just listen. I'm listening, I replied. She took a small step closer. Things with Lucas, they're not what I expected. That sounds like your problem, I said. Her expression tightened. It became my problem when I realized what I lost. I tilted my head slightly. And what exactly did you lose? She looked at me like the answer was obvious. You. I almost laughed. You never had me, I said. That's not true, she said quickly. It is, I replied. We had a contract. Her voice broke slightly. It became more than that. For you? I asked. She didn't answer immediately. Then she whispered, yes. I watched her carefully. This wasn't the same woman who walked away. That version of her was certain. This one wasn't. I don't believe you, I said. Her eyes widened. Why? Because when it mattered, I said, you chose someone else. She shook her head. I thought he was my past coming back. And now, I asked. Now I see what he really is, she said. I crossed my arms. And what is that? A mistake, she replied. I nodded slowly. So you replaced one mistake with another. That's not fair, she said. Neither was what you did, I replied. She flinched slightly. Good. That meant she felt it. Adrian, please, she said again. I didn't understand before. And now you do, I asked. Yes, she said. Too late, I replied. Those two words hit harder than anything else. I saw it in her face. Panic. Real panic. Don't say that, she said quickly. Why not? I asked. Because we can fix this, she said. I looked at her for a long moment. Then I shook my head. No, I said. Her breathing became uneven. You're not even going to try. No, I repeated. Why? She asked. I stepped slightly closer, lowering my voice. Because I already did, I said. She froze. I gave you time, I continued. I gave you space. Her eyes filled with tears. I know, and you used that time to leave, I said. I didn't know what I was doing, she whispered. That doesn't change what you did, I replied. She reached for my arm. Please. I stepped back. Don't, I said. That stopped her. Completely. I'm not that person anymore, I continued. What does that mean? She asked. It means you don't get to come back when things fall apart, I said. Her voice broke. I'm not coming back because things fell apart. Then why now? I asked. She didn't answer. That was all I needed. I nodded once. Exactly. Silence stretched between us. Then she whispered, I'm scared. That caught me off guard. But only for a second. Of what? I asked. Of losing everything, she said. I looked at her. Really looked this time. And I saw it clearly. She wasn't confident anymore. She was scared. and for the first time, the power had shifted completely. "I guess now you understand," I said quietly. "Understand what?" she asked. I held her gaze. "What it feels like," I replied. Then I turned and walked away. Lucas lost everything: money, status, control. I didn't celebrate when I heard it. I didn't react at all. Clara walked into my office with a file in her hand. "It's confirmed." I looked up. "What is?" "Lucas Reinhardt," she said. "He's done." I leaned back slightly. "Explain." "Investors pulled out completely," she said. "Legal pressure increased. His partnerships collapsed overnight." I nodded once. "And Daniel?" "Stepped away before it got worse," she replied. "Smart," I said. Clara studied me. "You don't seem surprised." "I'm not," I replied. She hesitated. "You're not even interested." I closed the file on my desk. "No." She frowned slightly. "After everything," I looked at her. "After everything," I moved on. She didn't push further, but I could feel her watching me as she left. Later that evening, I was about to leave when security informed me. "She's here," they said. I paused. "Who?" "Elena Voss," he replied. I closed my eyes for a second. "Send her in." A minute later, she walked into my office. No confidence, no sharpness, just exhaustion. "Adrian," she said softly. I stayed seated. "Why are you here?" She looked around like she didn't belong in the room anymore. "I needed to see you." "For what?" I asked. Her voice trembled. "Everything is falling apart." I nodded slowly. "I heard." She stepped closer. "Lucas, he lost everything." "That's what happens," I said calmly. She swallowed. "I didn't think it would go this far." "You didn't think at all," I replied. That hit her. I saw it. She lowered her gaze. "I made a mistake." "You've said that before," I said. She shook her head quickly. "This is different." "How?" I asked. Her voice broke slightly. "Because now I understand what I lost." I leaned forward slightly. "And what did you lose?" "You," she said. I stayed quiet for a moment, not because I didn't have an answer, because I wanted her to sit in it. Then I said, "That's not true." Her eyes lifted quickly. "It is." "No," I repeated. "You lost comfort, not me." "That's not fair," she said. "Neither was your choice," I replied. Silence filled the room. She stepped closer again. "Do you still feel anything?" I paused. I thought about everything: the contract, the distance, the silence, the breaking point. Then I answered. "I did," I said, "but I don't anymore." Her face changed instantly, like she wasn't ready for that answer. "No," she whispered. "You can't just—" "I did," I interrupted. She shook her head. "I thought you would fight for me." I stood up slowly. "I did," I said quietly. "You just didn't see it." She stared at me, frozen. "I gave you space," I continued. "I gave you silence when you needed it. I gave you distance when you wanted it." Her eyes filled. "That wasn't fighting." "It was," I said firmly. "Just not the way you expected." She took a step back. For the first time, she looked lost. "I didn't know," she whispered. "That was always the problem," I replied. Her voice broke completely. "I don't know what to do now." I walked past my desk. "Then don't do anything," I said. She turned quickly. "Adrian, please." I stopped at the door but didn't look back. "This isn't something you fix," I said. Her breathing shook. "I thought we had time." "We did," I replied. "You used it." Silence again. Heavy. Final. Then she asked softly, "Is it really over?" I turned slightly, just enough for her to hear me. "Yes," I said. Her hand lifted slightly, like she wanted to reach for me, but stopped halfway. "I didn't mean for this," she whispered. "I know," I said, and for the first time, I meant it. Then I walked out of my office, leaving her behind, not in anger, not in pain, just in truth, and for the first time in a long time, I didn't look back. The divorce finalized without drama. No revenge, No shouting, just silence. I remember sitting in Henry Blake's office, watching him slide the final papers across the table. All done, Henry said. Legally, it's over. I nodded. Good. Elena didn't look at me. She just stared at the document. You don't have anything to say? She asked quietly. I picked up the pen. No. Her fingers tightened slightly. Not even goodbye? I paused for a second, then signed. No, I said. Henry cleared his throat. That completes everything. I stood up. Then I'm done here. Elena finally looked at me. Adrian, I stopped at the door. What? I asked. Her voice broke slightly. Was any of it real for you? I turned my head just enough. It was real enough to end. That was all. I walked out. No hesitation. No looking back. Outside the building, Marcus was waiting. It's done, he asked. Yes, I replied. He studied me. And nothing, I said. He frowned. You're seriously just walking away like that? I shrugged slightly. What else is there to do? He shook his head. Most people would be a mess right now. I'm not most people, I said. He laughed softly. No, you're definitely not. We walked in silence for a while. Then Marcus asked, Do you hate her? I stopped walking. No, I said. He raised an eyebrow. Not even a little. I looked ahead. Hate still means you care. He stayed quiet. I continued. I don't need her, that's all. Marcus nodded slowly. That sounds colder than hate. Maybe, I replied. We reached the car. Before I got in, Marcus said, So what now? I paused. For the first time in a long time, I didn't feel rushed to answer. I build, I said. He smiled faintly. That sounds like you. I got in the car. As we drove away, the city lights blurred past the window. I thought about everything. The contract, the silence, the betrayal, the breakdown, and the ending. But nothing hurt anymore. It just existed. Marcus broke the silence. You sure you're okay? I looked out the window. I've never been more clear. He nodded. That's dangerous. Or free, I replied. He didn't answer. Because maybe he understood. That night, I stood alone in my apartment. No calls, no messages, no noise, just me. I walked to the window and looked outside. The world was still moving. But I wasn't chasing it anymore. I wasn't running from anything either. For the first time, I was just standing still, and that felt different. Better. Final. I whispered to myself, this is it. No past pulling me back. No future dragging me forward. Just now, and in that moment, I finally understood what silence really meant. It wasn't emptiness, it was freedom. They thought I would break. Instead, I became someone they could never reach again.